Can back out. This video is titled Bungie Layoffs WTF question mark question mark question mark Leopard reacts to Datto's take. So this is ATP's reaction to Leopard's reaction to Datto's take.
It has been reported that sales at Bungie for Destiny were running 45% below.
Oh, actually, hold on here. Let me increase browser source. How loud is this?
Projections for the year, and that the layoff.
And I think we lower Spotify substantially.
Layoffs are a part of a bigger thing happening over at PlayStation. That 45% revenue figure is projections.
They projected too high.
They are in the red or
yeah,
in the
I
black,
agree.
I am not too sure of. I'm imagining a world where PlayStation saw these numbers and told Bungie that something needed to happen. However, IGN reports that, quote, Bungie took responsibility for the layoffs rather than laying them at the feet of parent company Sony. Parsons, CEO, told employees that the layoffs were largely due to underperformance of Destiny 2 over the last year, as well as lower than expected pre-orders for the upcoming expansion, The Final Shape.
How do we know if any of that's true? How do we actually know if anything any one of these companies saying is true? Because is Bungie just protecting their parent company? Is Bungie telling the truth and they actually had no requirements from Sony to make certain amounts of profit, so they had to fire people, so they had less labor cost? We don't know.
Yeah, I think Leopard raises a really good point here. Like, how do we know that it's true? Personally, for me, I think we know it's true because Datto said so. And Datto's never lied before, but I think Leopard does raise a really good point here.
End quote. It did not matter who you were at Bungie, I guess, unless you were a part of upper management or leadership, as I have not heard anything on those higher end positions.
Okay, I'm watching this B-roll and I can't help but noticing he doesn't have recuperation on, and he picks up orbs and doesn't heal.
I'll be honest, I was also watching the B-roll, but I didn't notice the recuperation. I did notice earlier someone left his fire team, so I was a bit curious about that, but I didn't notice the no recuperation.
In those areas, it didn't matter. You were not safe. New hires, old guard, didn't matter what department, everyone was...
Michael Salvatore, peace. Lead art director for like 30 years, peace.
He's the music director, is he not? Not the art director? What's Leopard waffling about?
Subjected to this, including very senior employees, like back from the Halo days and earlier. Even Michael Salvatore, you know, the main music guy.
It's kind of impressive, I think, how Leopard knew Datto was going to talk about Michael Salvatore. I think Leopard actually watched this video in advance.
Along with Michael Seacrest, both are gone. Although it has been confirmed that the music for Final Shape has been recorded and is probably in the process of getting mastered for the expansion at this time.
But remember, they kept the right people for Destiny.
Well, what I think Leopard's not considering here is that if the music for the Final Shape is done, Bungie doesn't need them anymore. So technically, they did keep the right people. Why would Bungie continue to pay someone when his job is done?
In total, it looks like about 100 people, or 8% of the company. Employees are getting 3 months of severance and insurance, but I assume the fate
What do you
of
do
the
at Bungie?
Contract workers
I'm the
or
music man.
non-full-time employees is probably a bit worse. IG has been moved to June 2024 and Marathon pushed to 2025, which has been in development since 2019, and Bungie has yet to say anything about anything that has.
I'm noticing here, Panda types in Leopard's chat, ATP, will you be reacting to Lep's reaction of Datto? And the answer, Panda, is yes, I will be doing that.
Happened. I don't know if there's going to be a TWID on Thursday when this video comes out. We'll see. If there is, I will post it in the description if it has anything of substance. These poor revenue numbers compared to projections are based on the fact that Lightfall was not exactly a hit and that interest in the game has waned over the past few months.
I thought Lightfall numbers were decent, but player retention was bad, which turns less revenue because of microtransactions.
It should be pretty apparent.
I'll be honest, Leopard, I don't know the answer to that. But I would assume that is the case because a lot of people weren't a fan of the Lightfall storyline. So they felt that there was no reason to continue investing their time in a game where the story is going nowhere.
To most people active on the game, play times are down across the board. We hit near record high numbers during Lightfall, and we have crashed down to one of the lowest peak player counts ever, with November 2023 having potential to be the lowest, in addition to October 2023 having the lowest average concurrent players since Steam charts started tracking the information in 2019.
I looked on Monday, 500,000 players over the last 24 hours in all of Destiny, compared to Fortnite's 44 million on Saturday.
Well, what Leopard's not considering here is the fact that Fortnite is not only a bigger game. If Fortnite also had something new, come back, the OG Fortnite map. So I think Leopard's analysis here is a bit skewed because we're week 11 of the season, so of course the numbers are going to be low.
Keep in mind those numbers are for Steam only, but I'm guessing they correlate.
Player retention is bad because Lightfall is bad. People left.
To some degree. The thing
Fair.
that is probably one of the more frustrating things to hear is this quote. Quote, employees were also told that Destiny 2 player sentiment was at an all-time low. Sources tell IGN that this issue had been flagged to leadership repeatedly for months prior to the layoffs, with employees begging for
Only months?
necessary changes to win players back, end quote. This is followed up by the frustration that probably the majority of people laid off had nothing to do with decisions made by upper management, but had to suffer the penalties of their decisions anyway, which isn't exactly anything new when it comes to layoffs, unfortunately. That is most of the new stuff that I've seen. I know Astacross put out a video talking about Marathon and content creators that were invited to play it, stuff along those lines, saying how they thought it wasn't good or whatever, but I will let you review that video on your own time because...
Okay, before Leopard speaks here, I just want to say, of course, the Tarkov players didn't like it, because the way that I saw it is that one of those games is meant to be a lot quicker paced, and the other one is meant to be a lot slower paced. Now, I'm assuming Leopard has the same analysis as me here, because Leopard and me have the same brain. So I'm curious what Leopard says here, but that's my opinion.
I have had zero engagement with Marathon whatsoever, including talking to anyone who has played it outside of a two-sentence...
To me, I kind of like the fact that
a while ago with an
the reported
person
story is Bungie management is screwing things up, and the people that we actually interact
I
with
not played
have been
Marathon.
trying
I have not been
to
invited to any events, and
be
I
on
have
our
not
side,
registered
but
to dodge an NDA. I have not played nor seen
they've just
anything
been
about
like overruled. Like that gives me a good feeling. I don't know why, because it's like, well, management's not going to change. Like, you know, whoever's overruling the people we interface with are just going to fire the people that are trying to root for us. So it's like, I don't know. It still gives me a good vibe, though. I feel like...
Marathon, and
Honestly, I didn't listen to a single thing Leopard
Makes a lot
just
more
said
sense
there.
now.
I am not exactly the target market for the game based on the limited
Cross
information
deleted
that we
said
know of.
video. The marathon thing was rage bait. I mean, come on. The whole marathon players were at Bungie, or Tarkov players were at Bungie, and they said they didn't even want to play the game, so all the money going in out of Destiny back to Marathon, blah blah blah. Bro, it's a game that's 3 years out. It's a sci-fi shooter. It's not a slow-paced, hyper-realistic Tarkov. No wonder Tarkov players didn't want to play Marathon.
I'm glad Leopard
sorry.
here
I would be
agrees with
surprised
me.
at this point if Bungie
Hello, Looser.
invited Destiny 2 creators to check out the game just as a, you know, hey, come check out the game because you've been covered in Destiny for so long, kind of a deal. You know what I mean? So, am I feeling much different compared to when the news first? Am I feeling so? Because you've been covered in Destiny for so long, kind of a deal. You know what I mean? So. Am I feeling much
Great
different
soundbite.
compared to when the news
He's a child.
first started to break? Not really. I'm still really bummed about the situation
Same.
as a whole. Shocker. I feel
Now I'm
bad for all the
confused. Is the
employees
background
Shocker.
footage
who got
here,
laid
is it
off.
like
I knew a
the
few of
same
them.
mission
Some
spliced
hoping to get
together,
back
or
on
is
their
it
feet.
actually
I feel
just
bad
this
for the
long?
people at Bungie who just had to watch their friends and coworkers get laid off just instantly, just like that.
Star Horse?
And now have to try to right the
Datto
ship.
Horse?
Much fewer people at the helm, 8% fewer people.
No, I'm
According
reacting to
Jason
Leopard's
Schreier,
reaction to
feedback
Datto's video.
internally for Final Shape was, quote, good, not great, end quote, which is part of the reason as to why Final Shape got delayed. One of the big questions I got during the 3.5-hour live stream that I did recently, linked in the description, is what can Bungie realistically do to improve Final Shape in the extra time that they've given themselves? And
Delay it
is he-
again?
in the extra
What's he doing here? Like, what is this facial expression? Like, Leopard, what are you looking at?
time that they've given themselves?
Delay it again? Hire multiple studios to work on it, just like Forsaken. And yeah, let it cook for another year or two.
I would agree.
Honestly,
I agree with
I have
Leopard.
no idea. Thank you for your honesty, Datto. You're welcome.
See,
Take a game
Datto, I disagree with
that
you. I
is
think
getting
Leopard's
good,
got the
not
right
great
idea here.
feedback, something that I feel is probably pretty locked in at this point, and turn it around into something that even gets great, not amazing feedback in 3 to 4 months while you just suffered layoffs seems incredibly difficult. I've said it a million times. Destiny knows what it is, and to see significant shifts just seems unlikely. And at this point, I don't know.
Yeah,
what
they're
it would
set in their
take to
ways.
get
Hey,
Destiny
Kibbs.
to overcome a barrier like that. I really don't. People asked if Bungie would do another big community summit, and I think that's unlikely, especially after what feels
Too
like
late.
a chunk
It's
of
way
their
too late.
community team and events manager, shout out Bianchi, love you, got laid off. And I don't know if this situation is lighting a fire in people's hearts to really come out with some wild new stuff to experiment with for Destiny, or if people are just
Okay.
feeling
In my
really
opinion,
defeated about
Lightfall story sucked
Probably the
because
latter
it
right now.
included new characters we
Hopefully
didn't
the
care
former
about.
later.
Agreed.
A lot of feedback.
Quality of life wise.
I'm gonna say though, I don't think that's entirely true. I think it also sucked because it was way too focused on our Strand acquisition. The Witch Queen storyline, and even Beyond Light, were more focused on the actual story. I feel like Beyond Light, like, yeah, there were Strand acquisition parts in it, but there was still a lot of it focused on Aramis, and that stuff. The Lightfall one, I was very Strand acquisition focused, and it was very focused on something called the Veil, which we still don't even know what it is.
People canceling their
Quality of life wise, Lightfall I thought was pretty good. Some improvements were made, some decent changes to, you know, the daily grind, but it was overshadowed by the fact that a lot of us are veterans and our loot the loot's kind of boring now because we already have a lot of good stuff and they
Bring
haven't
back sunsetting
in a while, and they brought out origin traits on re-skinned whatever weapons, and so the juice it just ain't worth the squeeze. If we needed to grind for loot, and if Lightfall had a story that included characters I actually cared about, which Final Shape can easily do both of those things with not a complete rewrite and restructuring of what Destiny is, then I feel like it could pop off like more like a Witch Queen, or better than a 45% lack of revenue.
pre-orders as
He just said a
result
lot of
all this,
words that,
cancel
once again, I just wasn't even
pre-order,
listening to.
boycott the game,
Do we know what the
Okay,
Traveler is?
a
I don't think
whole-
so.
100 people have canceled their pre-orders because they wanted to make a statement on social media. That is not happening widespread.
If you want to cancel your pre-order,
I agree
I'm
with
not gonna judge
Leopard.
you for it.
And it happens
This
every
is where the
single
line is
season,
for you.
every
You
single
don't wanna be
DLC.
involved
People,
I
in
still don't care about the
every right to cancel
witness. Who
your
people
does?
saying that they're gonna cancel
But
their
the opposite
pre-orders
is
and then they
also the
don't.
same.
So like I
don't think
completely
people
agree
should
with
get
Leopard
mad
there.
about others keeping their pre-order and wanting
Man, everyone's
Rohan
like-
died. Wait, who's that?
It's-
Exactly.
That's what I'll be doing. I've come too
Yeah.
far.
If you're canceling your pre-order and you're tweeting about it, you're probably seeking attention, or you're probably trying to scare Bungie management. Let me tell you, Bungie management, they're not. No, vote
They
with your
did
wallet, sure,
Bungie
but you
Callus's
tweeting that you
arc.
canceled it, it's not doing nothing, bro.
At
Now,
this
when Leopard
point,
says
to
more
not
than
see
like
the end
10
of
words
this.
in a row,
Sunk
my
cost
brain just
fallacy
loses
and all that,
interest.
I
There's
know,
no
but
Subway Surfers
Killed
on the
the wrong
screen.
Cloud Strider.
I'm a bit more invested than the average person, I think. Don't harass people for
All the people canceling are going to rebuy when the hype comes back. Exactly. F's in chat for Rohan. 0 F's in chat, please.
keeping their pre-order. Don't harass people for canceling theirs. There is no correct approach. There is only your approach. There is
Agreed.
nothing wrong for wanting to support the people, the individual people and developers at
Yeah, how do you
Bungie who
support
are gonna
the people
try
and
their
not the management?
damnedest
You
to make the
can't.
final shape a satisfying conclusion. But as I've also said before, it is not your job to care about the plight of game development. I try to educate about it, but at the end of the day,
my stream
it's
just
not
die?
your job to care about how hard it is to make video games or anything related to it. Speaking of individual employees, Joe Blackburn's name was brought up a bunch, and
I'm
how
pretty
much
sure my
blame he
stream
should be
just died
receiving
for, like,
any
a
of the events
second.
that have transpired.
All right, let him cook. I don't like. He's not HR. He's design.
In my opinion, based on the information that we have right now, that
Which is nothing. We have no idea how Bungie operates behind the scenes. By the way, preface.
Leopard's
should
right, we
probably
don't
be
know.
Close to zero. Joe is not a business.
How are
guy.
they
He's not
still
handling
doing this part of the
financial
mission?
Data. He's the game director. And as far
Who are you
as I
talking
know,
to?
I'm talking to
probably did
Leopard,
not have
Datto.
much to do with what
He's talking to
happened. He
you.
might have known maybe some things were happening earlier than others.
Yo,
Maybe
doctor.
That's about it.
No, I'm
Now,
reacting
could
I
to
feel
the
like this
Leopard
B-roll
video.
has been going on for way too long. Is this mission really 10 minutes long?
See, he
blame
agrees
them
with me.
for not directing the game in a specific way that would have driven more people to the game? Maybe. If people aren't interested in playing the game, that's going to lead to lower sales. But I think to target him directly and specifically as the crux of all
Why
the
is he
problems at
using
this moment in
anarchy?
time would be incorrect. If
It
more
seems like
information
the
comes
only
out that points in
problem
that
was
direction, sure,
you
okay,
projected
points to blame.
45% too much
If there is
revenue.
blame
If
to
that
be
wasn't the
placed,
case,
it's probably
everything would be
on
fine.
Upper
You would've got-
management, which I
you
feel
would've
like
so-
I've always
Sony
heard
would've bought you
stories
for
of
less.
being an issue at
Sony
Bungie.
would've
Just
bought you for less.
grapevine stuff. I don't have anything concrete, but the
And
fact
you'd be
that
chilling.
I hear about it as often as I do.
Would you be
leads me
chilling
to
though,
believe
Leopard?
That things can probably
Explain.
be done better. That's all conjecture.
Datto is out here
Solid.
fighting for his
Yeah,
life
let's
in
move
this
on.
B-roll.
The don't over-deliver GDC talk came up a bunch as well about making sure you are delivering a constant stream of content without going too overboard. I was going to make a full video on that at some point. I just never really got around to it. While it has been said in that very conference talk that potentially good ideas were held back,
That's some
as a
insane
result of
SMG
trying to
shots.
not over-deliver on content, part of the over-delivery message was to not overwork your employees.
Yeah,
If
I-
Bungie comes out with
don't
a season
over-deliver.
has
That's
more
like-
content than usual, that becomes
I don't like
the
that
norm,
statement, 'cause
that
it's-
people
Oh.
equate a season 2. And if Bungie
I don't want
is
employees to be
unable deliver
crunched.
that amount
I'd rather
of
have a
content
shit
every
game than
season,
have people
will get upset.
suffering
That
at their
leads to
job,
needing to
for
produce
sure. But
more
that's
content every
that's a
season,
management
which won't
issue.
be
That's a
sustainable. That leads to crunch, that leads
Yeah.
to burnout, that leads to a worse product, that leads to unhappy employees.
That's,
I'm not saying that's the entire
project management
equation,
issues.
but it is a small part of it. Obviously, Bungie not being able to experiment or put things they believe
That
to
is,
be
it
good
is a lot
into the
easier
game
to
is
to
not
get rid of
great
staff
news
than to
hear,
over deliver.
and plays into the comments made by IGN where people have been speaking about the low morale of the player base and not really.
Oh,
being
was
able
the
to
whole
do
"don't
much
over
about it.
deliver" thing a
That
partial
does.
quote?
But speaking of delivering
What's the full? Do you have the full
content,
quote
I
on
don't
"don't
think
over
season
deliver"?
23
The full quote
will
was, "Don't
experience too many
over-deliver, you're
issues
creating
As
patterns."
a result of what's happened, it's much more long-term kind of stuff that will be affected. Season 23
Will
is
not make a
probably
negative
very
feedback
set in
loop,
The
though it
1.6
will.
billion was mislabeled for staff retention. Oh, I was under the impression 1.6 billion was added on to the 3.2 billion for this Bungie Sony acquisition for staff retention.
But
All
that's
it really
just-
did
that's
was
just how
buy
it
out
goes.
Bungie shares from employees. Oh, that's not the same at all.
stone and is basically fully cooked, including potential mid-season changes and whatnot. What I don't see happening is anything in the gap where we have this delay. The second
Oh, are they
3
still
months of
doing
season
this
23,
mission?
in my opinion, are going to be bare bones. I don't think Bungie has the time to make new stuff for it, especially if they need to do more to beef up Final Shape. They can't pull from episode 1 because episode 1 is post Final Shape events, and they can't pull from season 24 because it doesn't exist. Season 23 is the last season. So I'd be very surprised if Bungie was able to come up with content to fill the void.
All they got to do is create a 31st anniversary.
Have popped back up.
Come on.
They say it's the last season, but let's be real, episodes are just seasons with a different name.
Over delivery patterns you're creating.
Need to go into a very significant hibernation for Bungie to even think about Destiny 3. They're in a vicious cycle right now. Poor revenue leads to budget cuts, which leads to fewer people working on the game, which can lead to less content.
Domino effect.
Which can lead to less revenue, etc., etc. It's probably going to take Bungie 3 months to even recover from the layoffs, figuring out how to replace the work that is now gone without.
Well, why would they need to replace the work? Doesn't a layoff imply that it's not needed in the first place? Bungie's not going to struggle, right? Right? Surely, Clueless.
To course correct and try to just blow people out of the water.
Good clutch right there.
Even if they do,
I don't think it was a good clutch.
That's still not going to stop a significant portion of the
That
community
is a good
from
clutch,
dropping the
using
game
suspend
entirely
and then
after
getting
Final Shape,
Jez.
because some people were going to do that.
The lack of a
anyway.
1-2
Final
punch
Shape
shotgun
needs to be a
hurts me.
banger to inspire confidence in people to stick around after the main show is over.
That's
Bungie
the hard
also
part.
Needs to figure out how to onboard new people.
Not to mention productivity tanks with low morale.
Not gonna be able to
Yeah,
live
how many
off
people
of
at Bungie right now are
the
updating their resume
They
who
need
didn't
to
get
figure out
fired
new ways
and
to get new
potentially
people
putting out
into the
feelers for
franchise.
jobs just in
I thought we could
case?
hold on until after Final Shape in order
I
to
mean,
push
okay.
for this.
Aren't a
But
lot
it's
of
looking bleak. I'm gonna keep it a
game
buck.
companies
I understand
doing
the
layoffs
need
right
for
now?
old content to be removed from the game. DCV, I don't like it. I understand why it needs to happen.
I mean,
but
WoW
that doesn't
removes their
change
content
fact
all the
that
time,
people
right?
Don't want to hop into the game if they can't do it from.
I
The
don't think
start
they
of
would,
the game.
Red.
For starters, I know
Leopard
stuff
does make a
goes
good
on
point.
sale
WoW,
all
like,
the
because
time.
I've never
But
played WoW,
make
but I
it
think they
easy
like
for people
never
to
remove
get into
content,
the
right?
game
So
at any point in
why
the
does
year.
Bungie
Anything
have
over
to
a year
remove
old is
content?
free. Up your player count, Bungie.
I know the game's free to
Yeah,
play.
every
I'm not
studio
talking
had
about that.
layoffs.
Shadowkeep, make
It ain't free to play. It's free to try.
If Bungie
Bungie
rehires
shill.
those positions,
Datto
it's a
guy,
huge
Bungie
L.
it free. Forsaken Pack, make it free. Beyond Light, $5.
No,
Should
make
be
it free.
Yep, agreed with
5
Leopard.
to $10.
Free.
30th anniversary pack, $5.
Make it
Do
free.
something.
New players are dying to play Shadowkeep. A new player showing up to Destiny, right?
The only thing
play
that
the
shouldn't
game,
be free is the
and
current
you boot it
expansion
up,
and the
you're like,
previous
oh, okay, I've been
expansion.
enjoying it. It's free.
The previous
let me-
expansion
let
should
me
be
try,
like
Let me try
$10.
this campaign, Shadowkeep. Oh, I got to spend money on this?
There's no
Oh, it's-
reason for Shadowkeep
Do you get a first mission for Shadowkeep and Forsaken?
be
Forsaken's gone.
more than
Beyond
$0.
Light, isn't like first mission always free? No, make it all free if it's over a year old.
To make getting into the game a little bit easier versus waiting for a sale. Yes, I know that I've said millions of dollars of research has gone into pricing things a very specific way to extract.
Our
the most
episode's
amount of
just going to
money,
be to
but
test content for
dude,
D3.
Get some fresh blood in the game.
It is a good
Try
question.
something,
I don't
man.
think they're doing
Why
a
is
D3 though.
Shadowkeep
I'd be
still
shocked if
based
they are.
$25 or $30,
Wild.
whatever it is.
I think they're bringing things to
Wild.
D2 because they want
Shadowkeep
D2
came
to
out in
just be
2019.
Destiny.
4-year-old. 4 years old. Wild.
Questions about
I
the
haven't
future.
cared about
What
the
happens
story
with
in this
Final Shape
game
and what happens with
since
episodes or after that. I think episode
Forsaken.
1 is safe. I still think we get episode
But
1.
I paid full price for Shadowkeep. They should have to pay full price. I bought my car for full price. I'm gonna sell you my car for full price.
Like, yeah, it's just brain dead, dude.
And I would say episodes 2 and 3
Agreed
are
with
fairly
Leopard.
likely. Bungie might have had layoffs, but they're still a big company, and they still need to make something to support all of the people who work for the company.
The
But
issue
again,
is
it
that
comes
I feel
down
like they
to
care more about
trying to
Marathon at this
entice
point
people
than
to stay
Destiny.
with the franchise. Most of my season recap videos can be summarized.
You haven't cared about
with,
the story since ever?
"It was
I
just
think the
more
last time that I
Destiny." And it's
somewhat
very clear
cared
that
was
just more
Forsaken,
Destiny
and
is
that's
not
probably
gonna
even a
cut it.
stretch.
I've said a bajillion times. I think I said that at the end of Beyond the Light. People are tired. They're fatigued. and 2023 has been one of the best
I
years for
couldn't
gaming
tell you
in
a
terms of
single
good
thing
games to play since
that's
the year
happened in the story.
2000,
Like earlier
but
today, I was doing the seasonal story. I was
ironically,
just
one of
skipping the
worst
cutscenes
for
because I
game
don't
dev
care.
layoffs. So
Inflation, costs are higher. A lot of live service games kind of struggling. Single player games are great, but yeah, in the last 20 years, if you look at, like, if you summarize all of the game reviews in 2023 compared to 2000, yeah, 2023 is the best year in 20 years.
We talked about that earlier, Red, but I mean, it makes sense. They're trying to
there are
make
a million other great games out there
Tarkov
that people are gonna
is
wanna play
Tarkov slow?
instead.
They're
Greed is
trying to
higher,
make
yeah.
Indie to
Tarkov players
triple
who like
A.
the
And the longer
slow
those other
extraction
games
shooter
keep you
play
away
a
from Destiny,
fast-paced
the less
extraction shooter. Of
likely
course, they're
you're
not gonna
wanna
like it.
return without something
But yeah, that video was
awesome
rage bait,
pulling you
and
back.
they were saying
And
Cross
again,
deleted that video
even
because
if
it was
Final
rage
Shape
bait.
is the traveler's gift to gaming, you are still gonna have people who are just done with the franchise. It's a very
Yeah, it was also
difficult
a
spot to be in.
pre-alpha. The game's
For
it's
those
not a
of you
completed
who are getting
game.
annoyed that I'm not blaming someone yet, this paragraph goes out.
It
to
was
you.
Leopard said it
think
earlier, but that video was just
I'm
rage
struggling
bait just to get people to
with
click on it for
pinpointing
ad revenue.
the people to blame, other than maybe someone like Pete Parsons, who is the CEO, because I feel like I don't know who to even target, which is why I'm more on the side
Yeah, we
of
don't know.
empathy for the individuals at
They're-
Bungie versus trying to target like Bungie Corp.
Yeah, they purposely keep it hidden from the community, so dangerous things don't happen, basically. Because we've had that. Public-facing Bungie employees receive heat equals death threats. So in this case, keeping Bungie Corp, whatever, hidden from public view, probably the best decision.
When there's just
People be
some
crazy on the internet.
mysterious Bungie / Sony Illuminati upper management group just apparently controlling everything, and they're
The
why
man
there are
behind the
issues
curtain.
with the game and them not caring about anything the employees are saying about this. Who do you target? This nameless, faceless entity of upper management? Cool Guy posted a video, I put it in the description, going over Glassdoor reviews that employees can give about their employer. And every negative is just upper management this, upper management that. And this is not a new phenomenon. Trust me on that. It's not new.
Witness has
How
been
do
here
you
since
target
vanilla.
or accuse or hold someone
Who are you talking to?
accountable when it's just this blob of people
Has
who
he?
apparently control the whole damn show? You point, and there's just this giant mass of something that is unidentifiable, which makes upper management both completely accountable for the issues and also completely unaccountable because it's just a blob of nebulous nothingness. Sure, Pete Parsons, he's in the picture.
I think
CEO,
Leopard's
he's
smiling in
usually
his
the first
chat
person
here.
to look at. And if these quotes are accurate, him saying we kept the right people, as noted by one of the articles in the description, is a bonehead quote when you ditch people like Salvatore. How much blame
Do we have proof that that was a real quote, or is it just someone said something that's something and then someone reported that something?
That's a
Is
good
it
question,
true?
Leopard.
Could be. Is it not true? Could be.
do you assign to
It's a good
him
question, Leopard. I
for
haven't
the
considered
issues
that.
with the game? All of it? He's a CEO. He's top dog. I don't know what he does day to day.
Well, he
Some of
doesn't
it,
play
sure,
Destiny, I can
because
tell you
he's the
that,
CEO,
because his Destiny
right?
character is
I'm not
1603.
defending him. I just don't know.
Hasn't been denied.
I
You think
don't know.
you think Pete's gonna get on Twitter and say, "Yeah, I said that."
At something. Upper management. That's not satisfying. I don't know where to focus this anger. I think a lot of people don't. I think that's part of the problem, is that we can't just look at someone and be like, you. Like, we don't. There's nowhere to just pinpoint.
I thought it's always just blame the content creators.
So instead,
Who
I
doesn't play
focus
Destiny?
my
Pete
energy
Parsons.
A lot more.
His
Datto
character's like
shooting
1603.
one galley at a time and then reloading. That's real lep hours.
Well, I didn't even
on-
notice that, Leopard. You're paying a lot more attention to the B-roll footage than I am. We gotta go back to see
Per
this.
management. That's not satisfying. I don't know where to focus this anger. I think a lot of people don't.
I'm
I
pretty
think that's
sure-
part of the problem is that we can't just look at someone and be like, you.
And the other
Like,
people aren't
we
even
don't-
near him, so
there's
he's not
nowhere
even
to
giving
just
them back
I
on
thought
it.
it's always just blame the content creators.
So instead, I focused my energy a lot more.
Datto shooting one galley at a time and then reloading. That's real lep hours.
Leopard? Okay, so Leopard, I'm calling Leopard out here. Leopard, You didn't even notice it. You got it by this chat message.
On just the empathy for the people actually making the game on the ground floor. And this paragraph is something that I don't think I really harped on enough during my live stream.
Slowest Strand Titan gameplay real.
Know how to word it at the time. I got a lot of questions about me and just other creators in the D2 space. How am I feeling about the whole thing? What's going on with my sabbatical that I'm...
I feel great.
Yeah, me too.